sales momentum. Sometimes I just shorten this up and I just call it the sales mo, right? Because it's short for momentum, and we need that momentum. We need to get going. This is a philosophy, and the reason it's in the philosophy section is because this is a mindset. You've got to always be thinking about this. So when you get on the phone, you've got to start with the end in mind. You've got to figure out where you want to go. And in most cases, where we want to go is, yes, I want to do business. Here's my credit card number. Order that appraisal. Here's my signature on all the documents. And so everything that we say, everything that we go through on the phone call has to be towards that end goal. We have to build up that momentum. And very often, I hear us shoot ourselves in the foot by stopping the process. And we stop the process with questions like we want to pre-underwrite the loan, or we want to correct the client. We want to make sure that they have the right expectations in cases that it doesn't really matter, because we're going to overcome that objection later. Avoid that hit, stay positive, and then take their positive momentum and just point it in a new direction. Say, hey, look at this over here. And then you keep moving in that direction when you go through the sales process. So that's the pivot move, right? So we want to pivot. We want to redirect as often as possible towards that end game. So quit stopping the conversation. Quit trying to be right. Just try to get to the end destination. All right? So here is a practical tip for you today. So I went through this with an LC the other day who was having a hard time explaining points to somebody, and this has always worked very well for me. So the layperson typically doesn't understand points are short for percentage points, sometimes called prepaid interest. This is the portion that's typically tax deductible. Like that. Sometimes that gets a little complicated, right? They're talking about points, and you say I'm going to give you a quarter-point discount, and they think that's in the rate, and then you're talking about points as cost. How about we trade off points? Instead of using points, we use dollars. So what if, Mr. Customer, you gave me $1 today and I gave you back 25 cents every year for the next 30 years? How many years would it take you to get your money back? That would be 4 years, right? 4 quarters equals $1. So that 5th year, you're coming out ahead. That's how points work. So you give me $1 today and I give you a discount on how much we're charging you for the entire life of the loan. So instead of charging you 4.25, I'm only charging you 4% every year. So I discounted that rate and discounted the cost. So I've given you a 25-cent rebate every year. So you got to keep this loan, in essence, for 5 years before it starts to make sense. Are you going to keep that loan longer than 5 years? Yes. And then I recommend we pay the discount point. It's just like paying $1 today and getting 25 cents back every year. Hopefully that made sense to you. It's made sense to a ton of my clients who had a hard time grasping points, but everybody's familiar with dollars, right? All right, last but not least, today's deep thoughts. So here's the thing. We all know we should learn. We all know that we should practice. We all know we should watch these videos, read some books. We all know we should do these things. What we don't realize is how much that impacts the bottom line. So let me break it down for you. 15% extra time spent learning, 15% can equal 50% more income. Now, don't ask me to show you the absolute numbers here. That's sort of a rule of thumb. But in my experience, if you spend 15% of your day just watching a video or trying to listen to your own phone calls, those people make 50% more income than the folks who don't. The folks who just kind of fly by night and wing it. So people ask me all the time as I do interviews, as I'm doing this recruiting, what's the difference between the people who are, just so-so, and the people who are awesome? The people who are awesome, practice. The people who are awesome do the things that other people won't, such as read the books, watch the videos, get a little bit better, pull their own phone calls. Those are the things that make a difference in the long run. They may not make a difference today. They may not make a difference right away. Maybe it's only one extra loan every 2 weeks. But after practice, after a lot of it, maybe that's an extra loan every 2 days. Maybe that's an extra loan a day. Maybe that's the difference between you writing 2 a day and writing 1 a day. Maybe that's the difference between writing 3 a day and 2 a day. Imagine that. All right? So,